Navigating workbooks with an index. We are currently looking at a workbook containing several distinct worksheets. Down at the bottom, you can see I'm currently sitting on the tab labeled Index. Beyond that, I have sales data sheets for the devices, the fashion, appliances, household, and finally, a sheet for total report. My goal here is to make it incredibly easy for anyone using this file to jump between these specific datasets without hunting through tabs. Essentially, we are building a navigation system similar to a table of contents in a Word document, where clicking a chapter title zips you straight to that page. In Excel, we achieve this by inserting hyperlinks. If you have ever browsed the web, you already know the concept. You click a link, and it takes you somewhere else. We are just applying that same logic to our spreadsheet, creating your first text hyperlink. There are a few ways to get a link into a cell. You could right-click the cell and select Link from the very bottom of the menu. Alternatively, you could head up to the Insert ribbon, look for the Links group near the end, and click the Link button. However, I prefer the keyboard shortcut, which is Ctrl+K. When the dialog box opens, you'll see options to link to web pages or email addresses. But for this task, we need to select Place in this document on the left-hand side. This tells Excel to scan the current file, and it presents us with a list of all our existing worksheets. For our first example, let's link to the devices data. I'll select the devices sheet from the list. Before clicking OK, look at the field at the top labeled Text to Display. Right now, it just shows the sheet name or cell reference, which isn't very helpful to a user. I'm going to change this to read Devices Data. Below that, there's a field asking for a cell reference. This controls exactly where the cursor lands when the user arrives on the new page. I have mine set to A1, and I'll leave it there for this first one. After clicking OK, we have a live link. If I hover over it, you see a rather messy file path, but the note at the bottom says, "Click once to follow." I'll give it a click, and sure enough, it jumps me directly to cell A1 on the devices worksheet. Customizing link behavior and screen tips. The default link works, but that messy file path that appears when you hover over it bothers me. We can make that look much cleaner. Let's try this again in cell B3. This time, linking to the fashion sheet. I'll hit Ctrl+K to open the menu and select the fashion worksheet. I'll update the text to display to say fashion data. This time, however, let's change the landing destination. Instead of the default A1, I'm going to type B4 into the cell reference box. This means when someone clicks this link, their focus will go straight to that specific cell. To fix the messy hover text, click the Screen Tip button in the top right corner. This allows us to write a custom message for the user. I'm going to type, "Click to go to the fashion data worksheet," and hit OK. I'll click OK again to finish. Now hovering over the link displays that helpful instruction instead of a file path, which is great for users who might not be familiar with Excel. Let's test it. I click the link, and I am instantly transported to the fashion sheet with my cursor sitting in cell B4, exactly as we defined. Efficiently replicating links. Let's head back to the index and knock out the remaining links for appliances, household, and the totals. I'll use Ctrl+K to start the appliances link. I'll select the appliances sheet and change the display text to appliances data, leaving the cell reference as A1. For the screen tip, I'll type, "Click to go to appliances sales data." Here's a little trick to save time. I'm going to highlight that text and copy it so I don't have to retype it for the next one. Click OK, then OK again to insert the link. A quick click confirms it's working perfectly. Next, I'll select the cell for household and open the link menu. I'll select the household sheet and update the display text to household data. When I go to add the screen tip, I can simply paste the text I copied earlier. It speeds things up nicely. Finally, we need to link the totals. I'll hit Ctrl+K, select the Total Report worksheet, and set the text to display as Total Report Data. I'll add a quick screen tip that just says Totals and hit OK. A quick test of these last two links shows that I land correctly on the Household worksheet and the Totals worksheet. Using icons and shapes as hyperlinks. Before we finish, I want to show you that you aren't limited to just text when creating navigation. You can attach hyperlinks to shapes, images, text boxes, or icons. This is really useful for creating back buttons. Imagine we are on the Total Report worksheet. and we want a button that takes the user back to the main menu, I'll go to the Insert tab and select Icons. Excel opens its gallery, and I'll search for Back. I'll pick this simple icon and insert it. You can resize the icon and even change the color. Notice that when the icon is selected, a new contextual ribbon called Graphics Format appears. This ribbon only exists when you have a graphic selected. I'll use it to change the icon color to a dark blue and move it into position. To make it functional, ensure the back icon is selected and press Ctrl K. I will link this to the index sheet. I'll also add a screen tip that says Go to Home. Now, when I hover over the icon, my cursor changes to the little hand pointer, and clicking it jumps me immediately back to the index. This technique works for almost any visual object and can really elevate the user experience in large workbooks.